Eriador is diminished. The time of the Eldar is fading, and the deeds of the men of the West are preserved only in their ruins. The shadow of a fear of ages past threatens all the free peoples of Middle-earth. And yet, hope remains. For in the hearts of unlikely folk is the strength to wander through shadow kept. And only thence can they come to the morning. And though the road is long and treacherous and full of peril, it is a road that these companions must travel. And only through strength of loyalty, friendship, and hope can they overcome the obstacles ahead. May the goodwill of elves, men, and all free folk go with them.
Having returned victorious from the House of Ferrell, the company has brought Hemfast Willows back to his worried mother. With Hemfast having sworn to trust no further wizards, the company is content with getting a well-earned rest. A rest which was, by all accounts, rudely interrupted by the jeers and taunts of an angry crowd. And in the middle of that crowd, a wild man in chains.
So, when last we left off, you all had taken your fellowship phase in Bree, gained some new skills, learned some new lore about your items, and afterwards you came upon what seemed to be an angry mob or a gathering around a singular man. They were throwing out accusations saying that, oh, he's one of them rangers. Off with his head. Oh, he's nothing but a common bandit. Throw him in chains. And so on and so forth. And you look upon this man, and I'll give you a little bit of a visual as to what he looks like. So you can see he is grizzled, disheveled, hair wild, his mustache crazy and unkempt. And you see that he's got manacles on his wrists, and he is being towed by one of the Bree wardens, who's got the other end of the rope in his hands. And you see these people are gathered around him, shouting slurs and accusations and what kind of justice they want seen done upon him. At which point, Skilda actually comes up behind you, Larry, and says, Mr. Larry, what's going on over there?
I'm not entirely sure. We just came to find out ourselves. They appear to think that this man has done some kind of wrong.
Oh, well, I hope he's not a bad man.
Well, I mean, we can ask around and see what this is about. I mean, if he's done wrong, then he does need to face justice, but I don't think I've ever seen this man in my life, so I have no idea who he is.
And at this point, you see someone in the crowd picks up a stone and hurls it directly at this man, smacking him directly in the forehead, and you see he reels back, and he blinks his eyes, and you see a single drop of blood come down and drip off the edge of his nose, at which point, one of the Bree wardens that's standing on the side begins pushing people back to keep them at bay. And you see a gentleman approaching you. Those of you who are from Bree would know that this is the Reeve of Bree, or kind of the head of authority, the authority figure of Bree.
All right.
This is Tom Prithywindle, and he approaches you all, and he says, I hate to be bothering you, but we've got a bit of a situation here, and you can see that the crowd is getting a little unruly. This gentleman, as he was, it's John Aleepin, so he's been called. And, well, someone found him sleeping out in the woods. And he's been known to leap out at people. He's nothing but a common brigand.
All right.
So they want to kill him for that? Or you said somebody found him in the woods. Did he do something beyond that?
Did he hurt anyone?
He has been known to hurt people, yes. Travelers on the road, he'd jump out from the bushes. That's why they give him the name Jonah Leapin'. He'd leap out from the brush and bramble and waylay travelers and passers-by for their coin and their supplies.
Alright, so what's the complication? If he's hurt people, he needs to seek justice.
Well, we were hoping that you might be willing to help. See, he says that he's a friend of Captain Gurnow in Tharbad. And we figured that if that be the case, well, perhaps there'd be a little bit of a trade.
Alright.
The Cobbler Borlass has been held in Tharbad for, well, several months now. And if this is in fact a friend of Captain Gurnow, perhaps he'd be willing to trade.
Does Thrush know, is this, they keep calling him Ranger because, well, they don't like Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Has Thrush ever seen him before? Does he even look like he's a Ranger? I mean, sounds like he's a common brigand.
Mm-hmm. You can tell just by looking at him, this man has no blood of the Dunedain in him.
Okay. All right. Well then, yeah, Thrush is just going to kind of lean over to Larry and say, we could go back down to Tharbad, the only problem being that I don't think he likes very much.
No, I don't think that he likes us very much, but...
Well, I think he likes you just fine. I think he didn't like me.
Maybe. I mean, if we can find any substantiation of his claim, then, I mean, we don't mind escorting him for a prisoner swap. Why are they holding Oppos? And did they have a claim? Why?
Well, they said it was because tax evasion, so to speak. Everyone who knows anything about Captain Gurnow knows that he and his guards will impose whatever taxes they want and whatever time they feel appropriate. So
Yes.
his crime was carrying leathers across the river and not paying the fee for them.
I see. Yes, well, I have no problem helping our citizen out then.
Very good. We'll keep him in the jailhouse for now, but just let us know. Let one of the Bree wardens here know whenever you're ready to leave, and we'll hand him over to ye.
Alright, we'll need time to arrange travel, but most certainly we will expedite the process.
I can't thank you enough. I tell you, we don't have much to give you, but I'm sure that we can get Borlass to make you a fine set of traveling boots whenever you get back.
Oh, well, I that'll be more than enough, I think. Well, perhaps not for Miragar here, although for a hobbit he does like shoes more than normal, but still, we'll find something for him. Probably a nice meal.
I think that could be arranged.
Yeah, I think these are the only boots I'll be wearing for a while.
And with that, you see the Reeve turns and makes his way to the center of the circle and addresses the entire mob and urges them to disperse and pledges that justice will be had upon John Alepin and that they should all head back to their homes. And with that, as soon as everybody is dispersed, people begin, people continue leering at John as the wardens drag him through the streets. And you can see his forehead continues bleeding, but you can see he shoots glances at passers-by and like almost kind of starts out as if he's going for somebody. And a couple people jump out of surprise and quickly walk away. But he is escorted back to the jailhouse.
Well, this should be interesting.
Yes, I think we should at least talk to the man to see if there's any merit to his claim before we even bother making this journey.
I don't think Gurnow would be friendly if we just showed up with somebody who he doesn't actually know and demanded one of his prisoners.
Right.
Yes, I don't know how much we'll actually get from this common thug, but it's at least worth a shot.
Well, when do we want to do this?
So he looks at Thrush, goes, good Hobbit, bad cop? Or do we go in a different route?
I think it's possibly that you, along with your fellow Breelander, go and talk to him while I loom in the corner. And then I can get involved.
Oh, very well, good. Aranel, do you mind taking Skilda home?
Of course.
Thank you.
Larry, would you mind much if you have like a hidey hole somewhere, if before we leave I drop some of this coin that I'm carrying with you, the trinkets and things we found? I am not comfortable carrying it with me all the way. I hate carrying this around.
Oh, that's quite all right. I can arrange something for you in my home.
Even if there's a loose stone under the hearth or something, anything.
Yes.
Or in your yard. It doesn't-
Young Skilda's quite creative. I'm sure she and Aranel can come up with something for you.
I've got plenty of hiding places around here, Mr. Thrush.
Good girl.
Excellent.
All right. Let's go. I guess we'll go visit the jail and see what we can get out of Mr. Leapin.
All right. And as you all head that way, Aranel and Skilda both head back towards your house, Larry. And you hear Skilda from behind you say, "Oh, Lady Aranel, can we practice with your bow?"
Of course.
Yes. And you see she just takes off up the hill.
Nice.
All right. So you all...
I'm sorry, I'm still staring at this guy's portrait. He just looks very angry.
Yeah,
You look a little unhinged.
he's not a happy camper, that's for sure.
Definitely not.
But you all make your way down to the lower hill to what would proverbially be the city hall / jailhouse. And you enter in.
I'd like to think Miragar and I are kind of having banter on our way. Like, when was the last time you've been here, Miragar? Have you ever had any business here?
To the jail?
Oh,
I paid a fine for something once. I don't remember what it was now.
Did you happen to take someone's bread?
No, I'm not a thief.
I mean, I have to ask because, I mean, that last adventure, I mean, you did grab a loaf of bread from those bandits. Granted, they deserved it.
That's different.
Okay.
They probably stole that bread from somebody else. So in all honesty, I was probably doing a good deed.
Yes. I've heard the saying, there's only one thief in the world. Everyone else is just trying to get their things back.
Exactly.
Clearly, you prescribe to that logic. Fair enough.
And so you all enter into the town hall / jail. And you know that the jail is actually on a lower level. So you go down some stairs set on the outside on the side of the building and enter through a thick wooden door with a single window that's got 3 bars in it where you can just see in. And the door creaks open as you step foot in. And you can see that this floor is made of dirt. And there's kind of like a thick, musty smell in here, as it seems like there's been mud down in here as water has leaked both through the window and the door, and also maybe through some cracks in the foundation. The air is very heavy with this smell of mud, and your boots kind of suck into the mud as you walk through. And eventually, as you get further in, the mud transfers over into a stone floor. And you can see in one of the cells behind some bars is John Alipin. And he sits there and stares up at you. You see his gag has been pulled down from his mouth. But he does still sit manacled and sits on the floor and looks up at you.
Is he actually in the cell, sorry, or just kind of like just sitting there?
Yeah, he's in a cell.
Okay.
You don't think he's gonna leap us if we go in there, do you?
I mean,
Seems
yeah,
to be
is
a
there a guard there?
I promise I don't bite.
Does he bite?
You didn't.
I would hope so. Your name's John a Leapin', not John a Biting. Unless we need to change that.
I think he bites.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not sure. You see, he kind of gnashes out at you with his teeth, and you see he's missing a couple up front.
Does he look like he's a man of Bree, a Dunlander? Any clue? Probably not a wild man. He looks like is a little too civilized to be a wild man, but
yeah, you would guess he's probably from around these parts.
All right. Okay.
So, Miss Leapin, do you actually have an actual name?
You can call me John.
John it is. You claim that you're friends with Gurnow and Tharbad. That's quite the claim. He's a person of some renown.
Why, yes. Of course I'm yeah, you'd be doing well to be setting me free now. If you know what's good for you.
Oh, do you have any way of proving that you're friends with the captain? I mean, that's quite a claim. You understand that we can't just blindly believe it.
I've been inside his palace, you see. A palace of red.
Yes, we've been there as well. Many people pass through there, and that's not necessarily enough to be his friends. You've just done business with him, perhaps.
And with that, you see he holds up his hands. He says, well, I'm a bit bound up at the moment. It's tough for me to be providing you any sort of proof that you'd be looking for.
And what proof would you need your hands for? If you had any personal effects, I'm sure the gods could produce them for us.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have any personal effects.
Then how would you prove it with your hands?
I guess you'll have to take me word for it.
What's the heraldry of the city?
He says the heraldry is that of the bridge overspanning the river.
Well, you've at least been there.
That much is true.
So, if you're good friends with the captain, what are you doing up in Bree? And why are you considered a bandit? Or whatever they call you. This is all a charade of some kind. It's a very poor one.
Well, all of this talk about me being a common bandit is nothing but pure poppycock. People around here are queer and suspicious of everyone.
I mean...
So have you not jumped out of forests and trees and hurt people?
Any claims of that is pure nonsense. He says, I've left that life behind me. Several years ago now.
Well, why don't we backtrack a little bit here? Because it sounds like you're trying to be a citizen on the up and up. But really, we should find out why you are in this cell. It sounds like somebody found you sleeping?
Yeah, I was just sleeping out in the woods. Some little girl came around and apparently was gathering firewood and found me camping spot.
And people just showed up and took you in? Is that pretty much what happened?
Yes. I'm an innocent traveler, you see.
Where's this camping spot? Where were you found?
Near the Chetwood.
That's a dangerous place to be camping. If you know anything about the Chetwood.
That it is. There's an exceptional danger from little girls in there.
And more, but... What were you doing for Gurney? If you're friends with him, he must have sent you up here. You're hanging out in the Chetwood.
Gurney.
Not being your...
You must be
Aranel.
fast friends with him. Coming up with pet names and all.
Yeah, our friend here's a Hobbit. They like the nicknames. That's all.
We'll say that I wasn't on direct business for the captain. As I said, I'm an innocent traveler.
Sleeping.
That might be the case this time, but you seem to have a record.
That I did. No more. That was well over a year ago.
The people of Bree would deem otherwise. So,
Long are their memories and thin is their forgiveness.
yeah, and we're trying to help you get forgiven. It would seem that we hold the power in this situation. So you're in the Chetwood on some sort of mission for somebody connected to the captain. Maybe not directly the captain. That's a lot of hearsay. I think we'll need a little bit more than that, and maybe we'll work with you and get you back to Tharbad.
I think if you know what's good for you, you convince him to just let me go.
And
That's not me making the threat, that's Captain Gurnow himself.
Thrush is going to step forward and just say, it's in your best interest to convince us that you know him. Otherwise, we'll just leave you here. And they will do whatever they're going to do with you, and we won't care. If you convince us, we'll take you down there.
Go ahead and give me a either an awe or a persuade roll, whichever one you're going for.
Definitely
And I'll assist.
Okay.
I warmed him up for you.
You.
Just pull out your shield and like the.
Yeah. You want to do this the easy way or the buckler way?
Look, no sixes, but a good
Look at you with all those dice.
a lot of dice.
Okay. And while you're at it, go ahead and give me an insight roll really quickly, if you would.
Ha! Oh, I mean, what?
Just Thrush, I'm guessing.
Oh no.
Ah,
no.
shit.
I mean, you can all give me a an insight roll if you want.
Not me. I am not there.
Hey, there we go.
All right.
Hey.
Very good.
Six
Very
there.
good.
Look at all those sixes.
All right. So with that, you can see that he is actually he's on the verge of near panic, but he's trying to conceal it. And he says,
Please, you know you gotta get me out of here. I can't be put to death. Not here in Bree. I'm not. I'm on the run from someone. It's not Gurnow, even though I do. Please, you gotta let me go.
We're not going to let you go. Oh, if we were going to take you to Gurnow and Tharbad for a prisoner swap. But if you, quite frankly, if you aren't friends with Gurnow, you're of no use to Bree.
Alright. All truth be told, I was a part of Captain Gurnow's court.
Okay.
But I seem to have come into possession of something that he didn't want me to come into possession of. Well, some treasure.
Raiding the barrows.
More like his palace.
Even more foolish.
Well, as long as you weren't raiding his wife.
Well, you've all been to Tharbad. You know, it's an oppressive regime down there. Everyone's watching everyone else and plotting and scheming.
Yes.
Can't get breathe down there. And so I stole from him to get away.
What exactly did you take that's so valuable that he'd want you, probably dead?
A single silver penny is enough to have your head on a pike in Tharbad.
I guess.
And let's say I stole a few of those.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty, but that doesn't help us with our situation. I mean, we could take you to Tharbad, and I'm sure Gurnow wouldn't mind trading you for the Breelander that we want back.
Yeah, you can't be... Gurnow will surely put me to death if you take me down to Tharbad.
Well, it's as things stand, it seems your options are be useful to Bree and die in Tharbad, or let Breelanders do whatever they want to do with you.
So give me an heart and roll really quickly.
Okay.
Gandalf, very nice. Okay.
Nice.
At that, you can see he stands up and makes his way over to the edge of the cell and grabs the bars and looks at you dead in the eyes, Larry, and says, "Would you argue on behalf of me? Perhaps they'll just throw me in a cell down there instead of hanging me off the bridge."
We can certainly try. I mean, Gurnow is not exactly a kind and generous man, but if you're willing to be brave and do this to save our citizen, I would certainly speak out on your behalf.
Do you still have what you stole?
No, I spent that long ago. Hence why I was in the woods.
And what is the equivalent amount of what you stole?
Oh, say... a couple of 100 silver pennies or so.
Okay. I'm not sure Bree has that kind of money, but perhaps we can think of something.
If you're asking to put it in terms of treasure,
Yeah.
we can say 2 treasure.
Okay.
Not too bad.
Gotcha. All right.
Well, with interest, we can expect Gurnow to want double. Even if we bring a prisoner back, if we do go and decide to be on his side, he's probably going to want equivalency of money, since it's all that man thinks about.
Yes. Well, we can attempt to give him money equal to what you took, and we'll see if that's enough to persuade him.
You mean to tell me you'd hand over your own treasure, your own hard-fought money, for little old John?
To be honest, it would be more for our citizen of Bree that's being held, but I suppose indirectly, yes, you too.
You'd have my undying gratitude. If you can convince him to let me go, I did anything I could for you, truly.
Alright, well, we can make no guarantees, because ultimately, Gurnow is his own man, but we will make the efforts if you agree to at least help us get our person back.
Aye. Indeed, I'll do what I can.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate your honesty in this matter. We will make our necessary arrangements for travel, and we will get you when we're ready.
And Thrush is just going to step closer to the bars and look at him and say, "And if you try and cause us trouble on the way down there, you won't make it to Tharbad. We'll leave you under a thin pile of leaves somewhere in the forest."
Yes.
That he looks up at you, Thrush, and he says,
Say, be a ranger.
I am.
You know, I've been working with a ranger.
Who?
I don't rightly know her name, but she was having me carry messages back and forth out of Tharbad.
I think I remember seeing a female ranger.
She was a cruel old hag with a strange dagger.
which at that description, you would recognize Thrush. You would recognize that as the Ranger Orothel.
Okay.
And she was actually at that gathering that you attended on Weathertop when you received Maithor.
Okay. You're working with Orothel. Interesting. Well,
I don't suppose you could get a message out to your kin, Thrush, within a reasonable amount of time to confirm this.
if we want to leave soon, I can send a message. I can't guarantee we're going to get anything back in that amount of time. It would be chasing us all the way to Tharbad even if they received it soon.
I see.
As we walk out of there, Miragar walks out after, behind Thrush as he did his little, we'll kill you if you misstep, and just slightly dings his buckler across every single bar on the way out, staring at John down.
Just like the coffee mug on the
On the
prison
front,
bell.
yeah.
But just stares him down the whole time.
I will warn you, John. Death has no fury like an angry hobbit. So
Aye.
Especially if you take his food.
I wouldn't dare cross the young halfling.
very good. Well, we'll be in touch. We have to make our arrangements.
Please, if you would make haste, it smells awful bad down here.
Yes, well, it's a long journey, so we do have to pack. I'm sure you understand.
He gives you a nod and settles back down into the rear end of his cell.
Okay. Once we get outside, we turn to Larry and say, "Okay, I'm packed. Let's go."
Well, I do believe Miss Aranel may need some time, seeing as how she wasn't here for this conversation.
I know.
She's
I'm
still
joking. I
practicing
need to-
Skilda.
I need to drop off money anyway.
Yes, the first Bree bank of Rushlight is at your service.
I'm sure as you guys approach the house, you just hear Aranel coaching Skilda from the backyard or whatever with a target up against a tree. It's keep your elbow up.
Right, like this.
Breathe. Yep.
It's awful heavy.
Yep. You'll have to get nice and strong.
You see she shakes as she attempts to pull it back and makes it about a third of the draw, and she loosens it because she can't hold it anymore. And the arrow sails about 15 feet and buries itself in the ground.
Yep.
I can't do it.
That's alright. Here, let me
If we see this, sorry, go ahead, Aranel.
Oh no, I was. She's gonna adjust the bow a little bit and see if she can make the string a little bit less.
You could
Hot.
technically backstring it if you double twist the bow over the top, and it would have a way less pull, but it will shoot almost nowhere.
You can do things to adjust the draw weight.
Or she'll just subtly help pull the string back as she takes the next
with
shot.
one finger, just be like.
Yep, just bing.
If we stumble upon this moment, Miragar will go get his bow. He was gifted because it isn't
It's hobbit sized.
bow for an elven. Well, it's a bow for an elven child. It was his first unique item, and since I'm not good with it, he will give it to Aranel and be like, "Do you think this would suit Skilda better? I'm really no better with it, and if she's learning, this might be better."
Well, we can certainly try. It's probably a better size for her, anyways. And she'll swap the bows.
Really, Mr. Miragar, you would do that for me?
I'm not really a good shot with it. So I think even with that bigger bow, you're a better shot than I am. And I think I tend to believe that A weapon suited with a good warrior is better than a good weapon with a bad shot.
Wow. Well, thank you. And you see she grabs it and easily draws the string back and just lets it go without an arrow. Wow. I'll get to practicing right away. And you see she goes and she sprints over and grabs the arrow that she fired from Aranel's and continues practicing, missing the target most of the time, but you can tell. Eventually, if you sit there and watch her for a little while, she improves slightly.
Well, I'll probably have to get a bow or a crossbow before we leave.
Oh, that's fine.
So, what did you find out?
He spoke half-truths. He does know the captain, but let's just say the captain probably wants him dead. But that's not necessarily our concern, because we can probably trade him for our citizen, but since he's being so brave in the face of certain death, we're at least going to try to help him not be executed.
Alright, when do we set out?
Well, as soon as everyone's ready, I suppose first thing in the morning.
Alright, I'll have to see if I can get a few more arrows, but...
Yes, perhaps we should get some safer arrows for Skilda to practice with.
Perhaps. Maybe some blunt ones.
Yes. Now, did you two happen to find a nice hiding spot for Thrush's assets?
Oh, yes. Skilda,
Yeah.
why don't you run along and show
Right.
Thrush where...
Throw Thrush's money down the drain.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, come. And she grabs you, Thrush, by the hand. She says, I'll hide it over here. And she runs around, and you see there is a tree out in the backyard of Larry's house. See here, I think a squirrel used to live here, but now this is where your money lives. And she stuffs it in.
Oh.
That's good enough for him. He's like, okay, I think that works. And he's just going to, crook his finger and bring her closer and just say, if there is an emergency, you can take a few pennies and coin if you need to.
Oh, I'll try not to, Mr. Thrush, I promise.
All right. But if there's an emergency...
I gussy up the hiding spot a bit.
Gussy it up. Okay.
Make sure there's not, just a bottomless hole to the bottom of the tree.
Yeah, just make sure Thrush's money doesn't disappear. It's a great
couple
success.
of stuffed squirrels on the side.
yeah, make some fake squirrels.
All right. And you are confident that anyone who doesn't know that it's there won't find it.
Excellent.
Like a scare squirrel instead of a scarecrow.
Just put a fake squirrel at the bottom, and then maybe a raven or something out there. Perfect.
All right. So, is there anything else that the rest of you would like to do with your day?
I mean, it sounds like Miragar wants a new ranged weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, Miragar just goes, and I'm sure there's a small stock of regular
Hobbit
bows.
Yeah. We'll say that
manage.
you've gained enough fame that you're confident that you'd be able to get a bow, probably free of charge, honestly. But while you're in there, you see the man who is kind of minding Bree's armory. He says, have you heard about the Archette bows?
Archette bows, what's that?
Well, they're said to be some of the finest bows around. Hunting bows they are, but...
Oh.
And they say it's very tough to get a hold of one. But if you can get your hands on one, they say it shoots straighter than, an arrow. I don't really have a better saying.
Than an arrow, eh?
Huh.
have you heard of one near here, or just a rumor that's starting to gather? What other information do you have?
Well, there's, I mean, it's pretty well, it's a well-known phenomenon. I'm kind of surprised you didn't already know about it. But it's not a matter of simply going to Archet and paying the right price. Yeah, they want you to prove your worth if you go down there and you're seeking one of those bows.
You know, I've been so busy lately and on so many adventures that I guess my mind had slipped from some of the old tales that I had heard, and I think I have heard of these before. Maybe it is something I'll have to look into. I mean, I'm not a great shot, so I don't know if I would ever be lucky enough to have one, but there are a few in my party that are probably can shoot straighter than a straight arrow, I guess, if that makes any sense. I don't know how else to say that either.
I know what you mean. But here.
Straighter than a sparrow flying south for the winter.
There, I like that. I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it, because I've been using the arrow one for a while, and it really doesn't make sense considering I'm tending the armor.
Confusing. Well, that really depends on who's shooting the arrow, because sometimes they don't really go straight. You know, there's a lot of variables in that.
Yeah, wind speed and all that. It's a thing. Anyway, here's hopefully this one holds you or Mr. Miragar.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Everybody's turning into pirates.
Yes.
And please do let me know if you need anything else. You can see we're relatively well stocked anyway.
Well, we'll need a couple extra quivers. The group has been quite sadly. We've seen a lot of need to shoot with arrows lately, but if anybody else has anything, I'll send them over.
Indeed. And with that, he will grab just a couple of quivers of arrows and just lay them down on the counter in front of you.
May they strike true.
Yeah, Miragar leaves a little bit. Maybe not the equivalent of their worth if he's giving us for free, but something just to make sure
he's restocking fee.
Something for his
Yeah, exactly. A tip, I guess.
All right. And you've got yourself a new bow and some more arrows.
Does Miragar tell us about these Archet bows when he comes back?
Yeah, if you guys see him again, he'd just for where.
It's like northeast of Bree.
Northeast of Bree. Okay.
Yeah, it's not actually. I don't think it's actually physically on the map, but I think it's fairly close to Bree.
It's actually on the northern edge of Bree Hill, just inside of the Chetwood.
Just on the
okay.
Okay.
So when he comes back, he kind of is like, he's got his face down, is kind of like palming his face, and he gets in and he goes, "Guys, Larry, I don't know why we didn't think of this either.
Yeah?
We should take Aranel to Archet to try to get one of their bows. I mean, I have a feeling that nothing is going to compare to the elven bows, but, you know, they do say that there is something special about a bow from Archet.
I mean, I guess we have time before we travel. We can make a day trip to Archet.
And I mean, but if you need anything else, the armory will stock you. I brought some extra arrows and whatnot.
Thank you,
Aranel, if that is something you're interested in, to seeing if these famous bows really do stack up against your elven make. I guess I didn't really think about it, because what is superior to an elven crafted bow? I mean, I guess one would assume nothing.
Well, perhaps something of the ancient Numenorians at best, but even then, probably not.
Yeah.
But
It is something that we could look into. I'm always up for an upgrade. If
alright.
one is to be found.
Oh, we can make our way over there before we leave. It's not like our friend in the prison's going anywhere.
As long as nobody in the town decides to visit him and throw more things at him.
Also true. Perhaps Gurnow would accept a body if worse comes to worse.
It's a little dark, Larry.
Yes, well, I've seen Thrush decapitate orcs and men at this point, so I guess I've got a bit of a dark edge now.
Yeah, but I feel like they all truly
Yeah.
deserved it. I feel like John's just kind of a pain.
It's pitiable, that's for sure. Has Thrush heard about the people in our chat and the Chetwood and stuff? Does he know anything about, like, not that he's like looking into like I'm gonna go get a new bow, but has he heard of?
You can give me I would say you probably know of Archet, but give me a lore roll just to see how much you actually know.
All right. Oh, why are my dice all pitch black? I don't know. I can't see any numbers on them. I'm going to reconnect here.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
I'll just reconnect it to the game. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So, nope.
Yeah, so you know of the existence of Archet, and maybe you had heard something about the bowyers of Archet. However, that's about it. Not a whole lot goes in or out of Archet. It seems as though the people there are quite reclusive and solitary.
I like them already.
Yeah, it's like about as far as Saddle, maybe. So, like, what, maybe a day's journey? It's a couple hours.
Yeah, you could make it there in probably about a day.
Okay.
It's just on the other side of Bree Hill, just inside the Chetwood there.
All right.
Yes. Since we're not planning on leaving till tomorrow anyway, we might as well at least go touch base.
Yes. Let's make our way.
All right. So,
Now to figure out whether or not Thrush knows how to get to Archet, even if he doesn't know the lore of Archet.
It's uphill and then downhill.
It's a general that way direction.
Exactly. We got to walk away
Go
from Bree.
this way, and then you'll see a thing, and then
And
turn.
we
And if you hit the railroad tracks, you've gone too far.
Yes.
I like
we
it.
find some old guy here, and Brittany's like, I used to walk up to our shit, but it's in the snow, uphill both ways.
That's where I went to school.
Fighting orcs.
If you're out after dark, you'd probably have to kill a couple goblins. Goblins were different back then.
Not these spineless cowards we have these days that hide behind the orcs. No, they actually had some spine back then.
Nice.
all right. So you all traverse around, up and down Bree Hill, and make your way into the eaves of the Chetwood. And there you can see, kind of a small, closely knitted community. Lots of small, almost log huts, log cabins, situated around what looks to be a central square. You'd guess that there's probably maybe a dozen and a half, close to 24 buildings in Archet. You do see, as you enter town, the people here are slightly dour. They watch you with suspicious eyes, as most of the time outsiders typically don't make their way under the eaves of the Chetwood. And most of the time when they do, at least from what you would probably know about Archet, a lot of them are probably coming in regards to the rumors of these famous Archet bows.
Larry might have passed through Archet at some point with his family as traveling merchants.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone recognizes me. Maybe it's been a few years, so he's like, "Wait, are you Larry?"
Tell you what, give me roll me a 1DF
All
real
right.
quick.
So close
Okay.
to a Gandalf.
Okay.
It was.
I was thinking, 50-50 shot. So, as you all enter, you see a tall man. You guess probably in his 40s or so. He's got a wild beard and wild hair. Walks up to you all and says, Larry Rushlight.
Why, yes, it is. It has been a while, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. And this is, you would recognize this as Fitch Talltree, the forester of Archette.
Mr. Talltree, how have you been?
Quite good.
That's-
not a whole lot goes on here under the eaves of the Chetwood, but
Yes. I know it's been some time since my family's been through here, but we'll make the rounds, don't you worry. Always goods to provide.
you know as well as anyone, we like to keep to ourselves there, Larry.
Of course. Well, a little something extra helps out every now and again.
So, let me ask you, what brings you and your lot to my neck of the woods?
Well, the same thing that brings most tourists here, the legend of your bows. We have a talented young elf maiden archer here who is curious to see if they stack up to elven woodwork.
Well, I'd say they're about the finest bows you can find outside of wherever your lot calls home, Lady Elf.
She's from Lindon.
Lindon.
Midland, specifically.
Not been there myself, but I've heard tales of its beauty, and I'm sure I've never experienced the like. But I'm sure that our bows would, they set the standard for archers here in Eriador.
Well,
They
I'm
look like they're
curious.
wearing short bows like hers, or long bows like the great bow that Thrush is wearing. Or do they have both flavors?
Yeah, it doesn't I'm not seeing specifically, so we'll say that
They come in small and extra
say
large.
that should you prove worthy, we'll say that you could have your choice.
Nice.
All right.
Now, do my ears deceive me, or have I been hearing tales about all of you clearing out the Morgan Vale?
We don't want to necessarily brag, but yes, we did deal with a group of trolls over there. And we
Interesting.
actually spent some time on the ocean for a while, traveled far up north, and I got this, and it's blood Estelang.
He looks at the spear, and you can tell that he is kind of confused by it. He says, "That's an interesting craftsmanship. Where exactly did that come from?"
The Isle of the Mother, as it's called.
Can't say I've heard of that, but I'm sure it does its job.
It is quite nice make, apparently Numenorian.
And with that, you see he's a little bit taken aback. He says, "Well, that's quite the piece there."
Yes.
Well, be that as it may, so as I'm sure you know, there's no need to be talking about bandying words about prices and things like that if it's one of our bows that you're looking for.
Yes. You're aware. You only give it to those that are worthy.
Yes. Now, clearly, you've all done some good, but
there is a bit of a test
Of course.
that needs to be passed.
Of course. I wasn't hoping for any special treatment.
Whoever's looking for the bow, the task is this. A solitary hunt, 3 days in the Chetwood. And what we need from you is a 10-point buck. Bring that back, and you'll have one of our bows.
Yeah, if only I'd known that before when I got a... How many points was that? It's like 14 or something.
Quite the buck.
Yes.
Ah.
Although, to be fair, it wasn't a solitary hunt, so I guess it doesn't count. Well, Aranel, are you up to this challenge?
Of course.
Very well. I'll give it a shot. I'm not as talented as an archer, but it'll be a fun challenge if nothing else.
Thrush just nods. You look over at the young hobbit.
I'm not gonna go on that. I'll hang out here.
Don't worry, Miragar. If all of us succeed, you'll have more than enough venison.
Yeah, that's all. I'll cook that up. That's fine. I don't need to go on the hunt.
He looks down at Fitch. Looks down at you, Miragar, and says, "Well, you can help yourself to whatever swill they're serving over at the Green Fletcher Inn." And he points just across the street, and you can see there is a little bit larger building. You can see a swinging sign that has the emblem of a fully drawn bow.
Well, it would appear that I am gonna go on a solo hunt myself.
Try not to eat too much.
And don't break any hearts either, if that's the kind of hunt you're thinking of.
We'll never know.
Oh, if you make enough of a scene, I'm sure we'll hear.
All right.
Well, we'll see you within a few days then, Miragar. Hopefully it doesn't take us 3 days.
All right.
I'm sure I can find enough to do for a few days.
So, are all 3 of you wanting to try for this?
Yes.
Fitch looks over at all of you and says, "Well, here's just the thing. We've only got just the one, at least that we can, well, hand out at the moment. It takes quite a while to manipulate the wood in order to make them just right."
Of course.
Just point at Aranel then and just kind of step back.
Well, Aranel and I are both willing to try, I guess. If we both succeed, then Aranel gets it. She's the more talented archer. If only one of us succeeds, then we'll figure it out from there. Maybe we can come to an arrangement like you and Miragar with the pipe you share.
And with that, Fitch addresses all of you and says, "Well, be on about it. You got 3 days."
All right.
Fair enough.
Aranel will do it in 1.
If her rolls are good, yes.
She stops.
She's not
She
the
just looks
greatest
in the
at
woods,
hunting roll.
squints her
She's
eyes, pulls out an arrow. I think I did it.
360 no scope into the woods.
You gotta walk out of the town. That's the rules.
Hey, paltry, I got your buck.
Excuse me?
All right. So, excuse me. This will be considered a skill endeavor.
Yep.
And this is specifically for hunting. So the only skill roll that you'll be using is hunting.
Sigh.
So, you both set out on opposite paths. Probably one of you heading northwest, the other heading northeast, and go about beginning your hunt.
Very good.
Go ahead and give me your first hunting rolls, if you please.
All right.
Right, she's throwing hope on there because she wants this bow, dang it.
Okay, very good. So you both immediately enter into
the Chetwood. Aranel, as you are making your way through, you actually find what looks to be a bit of scat. And based on its looks, it looks like it may be a couple of days old, but you can clearly tell that there is a trail that it was following. And Larry, you see very much close to the same thing. You see sets of cloven hooves, large, heading in the direction that you are heading.
Very good.
As the day wanes on, you all continue. Go ahead and give me another hunting roll.
Ooh.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh. I saw that ISR on. It was just.
It was very close.
Oh man.
Oh man.
It's just gonna happen. We're each gonna find a 5-point buck, and we're just gonna combine the antlers and make a 10-point buck.
Oh, God. I'd need to have a hell of a crafting roll to pull that off.
All right. So, Aranel, you are traversing through, and you follow whatever trail you're on, and you find what looks to be a rub on one of the trees nearby. And Larry, you are wandering and tracking this buck, which you are following, presumably a buck. And you see what looks to be a bedding area. All the grass around it laid down flat, with 3 sides surrounded by brush, so as to hopefully either prevent wind or prevent any eyes with any sort of ill intent from seeing. And with that, the first day of the hunt is over. Miragar and Thrush, is there anything you are doing during this time?
Trying to drink each other under the table.
More like eat each other.
Oh yeah, no. Miragar is for sure just the first day, just drinking and having a merry old time.
Yep, eating, smoking, just talking, small talk about it, and wondering if they'll come out of there with the buck that they need, and hoping that she gets it.
All right. And by the end of the night, you've got everyone at the Green Fletcher Inn singing Nellie's Fall along with
Yes!
Excellent.
Nice.
you. All right. Day 2 of the hunt. I will need some more hunting rolls, if you please.
Alright, we're gonna try this without a hope die.
Nice. Okay. Wow, you guys didn't fail one roll. And with those successful rolls, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Welcome, Tavern goers, and thank you for listening to this Tales from the Dragon's Tavern production. I am JJ, and I just wanted to ask that if you are enjoying our content, that you go subscribe to our Patreon, Tales from the Dragon's Tavern, where we are making it our one-stop shop for all of the content we plan to produce. As we grow and we are able to give you more content, we will probably update our memberships, but for now, it'll be free. And it'll give you access to all our social medias, our Discord channel, and all of those places that you can get our content, but we're going to make sure it's all in one spot for you as well. Cheers, and I hope you enjoy Tales from the Dragon's Tavern.
And we are back with 2 successful hunting rolls from both Aranel and Larry. So you both wander through the woods. You find some more evidence of the goings-on inside the woods as it pertains to probably a small herd of them, a small group of them. You can see that there are lots of smaller prints around as well. So you would guess that there were probably some new foals born here recently. But where there are foals and does, there are sure to be bucks nearby. So we enter the latter half of the second day. I will need yet another hunting roll.
Very good.
Right.
Easily done from
Help.
Master Larry. And easily done from Madame Aranel. Very good. So you both continue traversing through the Chetwood. You can hear the sounds of animals all around you, and you hear chittering from squirrels, and at some point you could swear that you heard some sort of like gibbering from goblins, but nothing ever comes of it. There is this sense of unease about the Chetwood that never actually leaves you. However, that does end the second day of hunting. Miragar and Thrush, what are you two doing?
Probably making ourselves well known in the town of Archet.
Yep. Seeing if they do
Making
anything
friends.
different with like making arrows or any other crafts they have around here. But just
probably
getting
just
contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thrush is the oldest person in our chat and is like, tell me all the stories you have.
Yeah, so you are actually introduced to the premier bowyer of Archet by the name of Bob Goatleaf.
Bob
Goatleaf.
Now that's a name.
It is a name. It is a name. A name which I will now write down so I can remember it.
I was gonna say that sounds like a name that comes off a list of 100 names that you might just have that you're looking at.
That's exactly what that is.
It's like, if the character was born before Yule, this is their
So-
first name.
So Bob, is the goat leaf name special for anything? Is it special fletching? Where's the name come from?
No, I don't rightly know. It
Oh.
got passed down from my father to me, and his father from him, and his father from him. I don't rightly know where that comes from.
Huh.
It's just a name at this point.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh,
But I like to say that I took to the bow like a goat takes to a leaf. It's not very clever, but it answers
Yeah.
questions like this one.
now I have a question for you. I was in a debate with Arms Master and Bree. When you describe how somebody shoots or how a bow shoots, what metaphor would you use? Because we decided on one straight as a sparrow, because sparrows fly pretty straight, right? Because straight as an arrow, there's a lot of variables to that one. Where I feel like birds, there's not a lot of there's a little bit of variables with wind and stuff like that, but they're animals. They're designed for those things. What would be your go-to line for that?
I hadn't really thought about that.
Something to ponder.
Something probably as true as the North Star. Or,
That's a good one.
yeah. At least that's what just comes right off the top of my head.
Well, sir, you are the one who knows his way around bows and arrows, but as true as the North Star, it's a good one. And Miragar will write that down, and on the note of Thrush is looking at him, it says metaphors for the armorer. True as the North Star, straight as a sparrow. He's gonna go back. We're gonna figure this out.
It's a
Meanwhile,
riddle.
back in the Bree prison, how long does it take these guys to pack?
He might not be one of the listed patrons, but me and him, we're gonna make so every time there's a fellowship phase, I'm back in Bree. We're consorting and we're making it.
You've just got a working list of metaphors every time you come back and add more to it.
What was his name? Let's find out what his name was.
Oh, the armor.
Bill Buttlicker.
No.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
I don't rightly know. It's just my father's name or my grandfather's name. Just never questioned it.
I think it actually came
Bill.
from my mother's side.
Butt liquor, really? How dare you, sir? First of all, my family built this country. Thank you.
It's Butte Liker.
Butte liker.
Learn to pronunciate.
We'll say that his name. Let's see. Let me jot this down real quick. He's the bowyer in our chat, and Sid. Sid Mugworts. There you go. I'm just pulling names out of the character generation, or the character creator for Men of Bree. Let's see, armorer.
I was kind of hoping that his last name was gonna have arrow in it, so it's like, oh, you're biased. I see how it is.
Yeah.
Sid Straight Arrow. Wait a second.
Yeah. Apparently, the craft of goat leafing and mugwording has been lost in the generations, and they've found new professions. All right. So now comes the third day of the hunt. I will need the initial rolls from both of you.
Oh boy, this better be worth it.
Nice.
Finally
Wow.
a great success.
Wow.
Thank you, Hope. I didn't even really need the hope for a great success. But...
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well,
Larry.
Well, it's Aranel's bow.
All right. So, Aranel, as you're traversing through the Chetwood, you come upon what looks to be a small drinking hole. And here in the dew of the morning, you can see that the deer are very active. As you shrink behind some shrubbery, you watch as the does and their newly born foals drink from the stream and graze about the grass in this glade. And you would guess that your quarry is not far off. Now, Larry, as you are making your way through the Chetwood,
Goblin scares them off.
maybe. But we'll say that as you're making your way through the Chetwood, you actually come upon a group of deer, and in this group, you spy a massive buck. And just as you reach back to draw an arrow from your quiver to hopefully loose it into this buck, you step on a twig, and it cracks, and that crack echoes through the woods, and you see the entire herd take off into the woods. For the final roll, if you please.
Well, no one's been hope on this one for me.
Yep. Okay.
But for you, by all means.
Hope die.
Let's go.
Yep.
Very nice, very nice. So, Larry, about this time, you feel as though you're beginning to catch up with your quarry. However, you look up in the sky and you can see that the light is fading between the trees of between the leaves of the Chetwood. And you would guess that your time is unfortunately over. However, Aranel, you come into one of the more northern areas of the Chetwood, just about to the tree line. And as you kind of come closer, you can see just along the edge of the tree line, you can see a couple of deer just skirting the edge of the Chetwood, kind of keeping their eyes out to the north. Go ahead and give me an awareness roll really quickly, if you would.
Awareness.
Holy crap. That's so many dice. You can hear it quite easily. As the sun sets, the sky begins to get dark. You see their ears perk up, and you can hear, carried on a northern wind back down to you, the sound of what sounds like wolves in the distance. But Be that as it may, as fell as that sound is, you spy, just as that sound reaches your ears, a massive buck, no less than 12 points, rears its head and looks off to the north, exposing its broadside to you. And with that, you unleash your shot. You fell the deer where it stands, and you have successfully completed your hunt for the Archette bow.
Yay!
Congratulations.
She
Yes.
burned through most of her hope to do it, but that's
I
okay.
burned through quite a bit too, but hey, that's fine. We can restore some.
You might find out that it is worth it. And so you bring your quarry back, and you see that Fitch Talltree approaches you and says, "Wow, that's quite the find, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well done. I guess what they say about the fair folk is true, isn't it?"
I suppose so.
I'd like to retcon that the buck she shot actually had an arrow in it from me, and it was the one I saw, and it chased it over to her.
Yeah. And with that, he says, "It is my hope that this bow can at least stand up to the craft of your people." And with that, he motions out towards where Bob Goatleaf resides and constructs his bows. And you see Bob comes out, and he holds in his hand this bow. It is a beautiful light wood, hickory by your estimation. It's got a very nice, simple design, nothing too flashy, no inscriptions, no runes, nothing of that sort. But you can tell that the wood is smooth to the touch and would provide no splinters if you were to run your fingers over it. The bow, the string is very fine and is an easy pull, but you can tell that there's enough tension on it that any shot would strike true. He hands it over to you and says, "Treat her with the respect she deserves, would you?"
Of course. It's gorgeous.
With this Archette bow, when you make a ranged attack or a hunting roll, you add a +3 bonus to the roll, or your
Jesus.
valor rating, whichever is higher.
Holy.
That is nice.
So we're just gonna all say in real word behind Aranel every combat, right? That's the plan. We're all just gonna defend her.
Jeez.
Might not
Yeah,
be that.
so
I guess. Golly.
and with that, you all have successfully completed your hunt. Aranel now has one of the famous Archette bows. You see that people around Archette are in awe of the buck which you have brought back, and wholeheartedly hand over the bow to you. More as a gift than anything. You can tell that it's, as they hand it over to you, it is an honor to have such a fine bow go to a fine hunter.
Well,
Bows,
I
they
think
have like a wall of people who have earned the bows somewhere, right? And they add her name.
It's probably, given how difficult the endeavor was, you would guess that there probably are not very many people who are able to complete such a task.
well, shall we feast?
Yes.
Miragar's like, feast? Oh, come on.
Oh, Miragar.
I mean, there's always time for 2 feasts, right?
Mukbang, as it were. And feast you do, as this deer is butchered and carven, and it is very, very fine venison. The buck wasn't too old or too young. It was just right, as they say. You see that ale from the Green Fletcher is distributed around, and everyone is making merry and having a grand old time.
And weirdly enough, everybody here knows the Nellie's Falls song.
I wonder.
And the sun goes down, and then it comes up.
But
And-
you said we have gotten a prolonged rest.
Yeah.
How much hope do you need to recover?
As much as possible.
A lot.
I have 2.
I will take 4 and give 5 to you.
And when does that come back again? Because I'm
Every
still,
session.
The beginning of next session.
okay. Because I was to say I'm still at 3 because Rangers.
Yeah.
He needs to learn the art of
you
smoking.
can take a chunk next
Yeah.
week.
Rangers and elves benefit from companionship the most.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah, she's
With
back
that-
to 7.
what would you all like to do now? Is it time to head out?
Yeah, it's time to head back to Bree. Hopefully this guy doesn't know how to count days without the sunlight, so...
All right.
What took you so long?
All right. So you guys head back to Bree with your brand new Archette bow in tow. And
Probably
you
drop
pack
off
up.
her fell bow at Larry's, and
Okay.
we'll pick that back up next time. Do you want me to leave your spear here as well?
Yes, I suppose that's a good idea.
Okay, good. I don't have much use for it.
Yeah, Larry's going to have a veritable armory.
Yes.
And I have Thrush's money. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's the first Bree bank of Rushlight.
Yeah.
Larry could make his own town soon.
My family's just gonna show up at the house and be like, "Who left all these weapons around?"
All
Hey, at
right.
least Aranel's weapons are clean, okay? She's not a slob. She takes
I
care
mean,
of
to
her
be fair,
weaponry.
it's not like her weapons really get dirty. It's her arrows she has to clean, anyways.
Exactly. It's fine. It's all clean. It's fine.
And if they're a total wreck, she's just like, "Oh, just make a new one. It's not a big deal."
Whenever you all are ready to leave, you see that the wardens of Bree deliver John Alepin to you. And he says, "What's been going on? It's been nigh on a week."
It's been a few days.
I can't hardly tell. It seems like it could have been a month for all I know.
Yes,
Been down there rotting in that cell.
it's a long trip to Tharbad, as you know. And we have to be concerned with making sure you're fed as well on the trip.
And he seems sort of satisfied with that answer, although you hear he continues grumbling under his breath.
I whisper to Miragar, I'm like, can you just hand him a pastry or something?
Perhaps if you
Does he
wanted us to rush.
deserve a pastry? I don't think so.
Yeah, I give Miragar a few silver pennies. I'm like, you can get another one on the way out.
He could have an apple.
Okay, fine.
Because we're going to stop by that orchard we know about on the way down and get more apples, because their apples were delicious.
Oh, yes, the apple doors.
You just turn around and say pastries are for closers. And that ends the matter.
That's good.
Oh,
All right. So, with that, you all set out from
Is he
Bree.
placated by the apple? Is that better than anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he takes a bite of the apple, and you see he bites down into it, and pieces of the skin are left behind. As you can see, part of the apple goes between his teeth where they are missing. So you can see he takes a bite out of some of it, but they're just little strips of red skin left along the surface of the apple. But he does seem to enjoy it, and you see as he's like grumbling, he kind of raises an eyebrow.
If nothing else, you're probably gonna get better food from us than the prison.
Well, I should sure hope so.
and with our preparations, you're less likely to be fed to the wolves.
Yes.
Oh,
So I'm assuming they have them in like manacles and stuff for us, and they gave us like keys or whatever.
He is still in manacles. However, I would have you give me a scan roll real quick.
Oh, you betcha. Oh. That wasn't great, but she still succeeded.
Yeah, well, you're favored, so the eye Sauron doesn't
Yep.
matter. And I got a Gandalf, so
So just kind of looking him over. Oh no.
Miragar, don't look at anything. Oh well, it's okay. He's favored. Well, he's favored.
Oh, was he favored?
Yes.
Oh, he
Yep.
was favored. Okay, hold on. Let me adjust that real quick. Apologies,
Gee.
apologies.
Trying to make Sauron hunt us sooner. How dare you?
He's a hobbit. It doesn't count anyways. He doesn't care about those until he learns where the ring is.
Farm fighters. Golly.
I'm gonna
We change
just.
that so often.
I'm just changing it after every
Mostly
quest
Larry.
now. I mean, until you guys come up with a real official name.
Like Thrushy and the Troll Slayers, and the Island
Yeah.
Purifiers. Like, we're just developing.
All right.
The legends
So.
precede us.
With that, you all kind of look him up and down, and Larry and Thrush, or I'm sorry, Larry and Aranel, you can both see. It looks like the wardens missed something. John has a small knife hidden in his shin pad. You can see just the faintest glint of steel poking out near his ankle.
All right, I pull that
oh.
out.
Oh, you know, I forgot about that.
Yes, I'm sure you did. Well, we're both safer this way.
Right, yeah. I suppose lead on then.
Yes. I think now would be a good time to bring back up the fact that I do have this Bree pony now.
Yes, sir. And what did you decide the name was for the Bree pony?
I decided to name her Moonbeam.
Moonbeam. Moonbeam. All right. Let me get our...
And a Bree pony has a vigor rating of 4.
All right.
We should have no fatigue right now, right?
Correct.
Correct.
And
Oh, good. I need to change
Larry
that.
will offer to bring the other horse if we want, so someone can get the vigor benefit from that.
Do you bring Ara with you?
Yeah, I'll bring her.
Might as well.
Yeah,
And she's got a vigor rating of 1, correct?
I believe so. She's an old beat-up horse.
Okay.
But hey, if nothing else, we can throw the prisoner on her.
Could be an ancestor of Bill the Pony. All right. So, with that, you all set out on your journey back to Tharbad. Is the plan to follow once again the Greenway, or are you planning on going an alternate route?
Greenway, safest way. I know it's not a perfect road, but
Yeah,
Hopefully we don't
safest,
run and dash again.
safest way, and we got a cargo with us, so gotta keep an eye on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Perhaps we stop at the Apple Doors on the way back.
Yes,
Not
I
on the
don't.
way there.
Yes, I don't think as kind as they were, I don't think they'd appreciate us bringing a prisoner.
No.
All right. So, I would have our guide give me a travel roll, if you please.
right, here we go. Traveling. We're traveling, folks. Ugh, those are horrible rolls.
No, we're not
All
traveling.
the lowest numbers possible, almost.
Yeah.
1, 2s,
All
and 3s.
right. 1, 2, 3. All right. So,
Daggin' habit, Thrush.
Dag nabbit. I even increased it.
as you set out from Bree, you can see the weather turns ill slightly. The winds gust down from the north and bring with them a chill, and clouds which roar and swirl overhead and bring down torrential rain and some thunder. And this lasts for seemingly all 3 days of travel. I already got that pulled up. Let's see. What does the Journey Events table have in store for you today? Okay. As you all are traversing down the Greenway, I'll just say, Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
go ahead and give me a hunting roll really quickly. Extraordinary success. Okay. So, as you are traveling down the Greenway, you camp one night, just between the South Downs and the Old Forest, or Barrow Downs, rather. You can hear off in the distance the ever-present howling of wolves that seem to have been plaguing this area since last time you were here. However, you bed down in what you feel is kind of a secluded area, gets you out of the wind and the rain just enough. However, when you wake up the following morning, you can see that the sacks with your provisions has disappeared. However, Larry, as you're looking down, you're inspecting the area, and you can see it looks as though there was something foraging around for it. Shortly thereafter, you pick up what looks to be prints of some rodent, perhaps? Five-toed rodent or something with claws that skitters about the inside of the cave, seemingly as you all were asleep, and has drug your provisions off. And you track it down, and you find it laying at the base of a tree.
All right.
And luckily, you've got your provisions back. You see up at the top, you can see it looks like a raccoon is staring down at you. You can see the anger in its eyes as you remove its food from it.
I throw it a piece of bread.
You see it catches it in its little hands and begins nibbling on it. And skitters away up the tree.
It's funny you picked raccoons.
All
There
right.
may or may not have been a raccoon-based incident in my Saturday game.
So, you all will gain 2 fatigue from the wariness of your travels.
Wow.
Traveling in the rain really takes it out of you as you try to trudge through this rain and the water-soaked dirt which makes up the greenway. And the grass almost seems to grab onto your feet as you walk.
Yep.
However, I
And
would
it's
need
supposed-
after... Go ahead.
I suppose we can use the prisoner as a packing mule to lower our fatigue.
I think that he is probably about as useful as... well, yeah, he's
Less
not useful at all. He's not
Less
useful at all.
useful than my old horse. Got it.
All right. And after day 3, I would have the guide give me yet another travel roll, please.
All right, let's see if I can get us another storm. I mean, or I'll roll double 10.
Hey, there we go.
Very good, very good.
But it's still all 2s and 1s on the other dice. It's crazy.
All right, so you continue making your way southward along the Greenway, just past where the road forks up towards the Shire and Sarn Ford, and northward back towards Bree. As you continue traveling, let me roll yet another event.
Why is it always mishaps?
Because mishaps are 4 through 7, which makes it difficult. If it's like, it's a lot of times we're probably going to find that it's going to be the same thing over and over and over.
At least this time it's the
In the
scout.
die, we know what
Yeah,
happened last
yeah.
time.
Go
You need
ahead.
a slow roll from me.
Yes, please.
pretty good.
Extraordinary.
Wow.
Right.
Look at
Alright.
you.
So, let me
Boys from Bree are
I
getting
threw a little
it
hope
done.
on this because I remember last time we headed this way, it was just shenanigan after shenanigan. So
Yeah, it was a lot of shenanigans. Definitely a lot of shenanigans. Okay. So, as you are wandering about, you can see that it looks as though ahead there are signs of battle. You can see that there are a few dead wild men lining on either side of the road. And you can see that as you're kind of looking upon the scene, you see arrows littering some of these wild men and wide gashes across the chests and extremities of these men. You also see it looks to be probably a blood trail that leads off of the road. If you intend to follow it, you can follow it for a little while, but you come to... do you intend to follow it, by the way?
Miragar will point that out to everybody else. Be like, there seems to be a little trail leading from this massacre here. Do we want to follow it? I know there's some bands of orcs and stuff in this area. Do we want to mess with that right now?
I don't know that that's a good idea while we're carrying around. He just kind of gestures to John.
Could we do a roll to see if there are like specific footprints associated with the blood to see if it's like maybe a human that was wounded and got away from the battle, or if it's like belonging to like the aggressor?
You can give me probably a maybe a scan roll would probably work. Scan or riddle, one of the two. You can definitely tell that there are distinct footprints here.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Missed
it's
by one.
as you kind of look around. The Greenway gets its name for a reason, is that the road itself is quite overgrown and not very well used, and as such, it does a good job of hiding a lot of details of what lies beneath. So, surmising what exactly left these prints is proving difficult.
Thrush is going to move farther past where she was looking, even if he has to go into the brush a ways and start looking for himself, just to... He's wondering the same thing. If it's a person, we really should help them. If it's not a person, they're probably best left to themselves because they're wounded and they'd be a cornered animal. But I'm going to try and do a riddle roll.
Okay.
We'll see how he does here.
Oh,
Great
great success. Very good. And with that 6, I'll even give you a little bit more information. So you can definitely tell that these were they're not orc prints, nor are they any sort of animal prints. They are the prints of a man. However, you can kind of tell just by the way the weight distribution of the heel and the ball of the foot imprint into the mud and the grass. You can tell that these boots, whatever boots this individual was wearing, is of a very familiar make. You can tell that this was probably one of your people.
And at that, he's just going to whistle and kind of call Aranel over and point it out and saying, it's a ranger. He just points down at the heel and he starts moving through the brush.
All right. I guess we're following Thrush through the brush. He's in a rush.
Bad choices. I mean, great choices. He's very bold or foolish.
All right, hush, everyone. We're following Thrush through the brush, and he seems to be in a rush.
Good God. I'm going to
Shut
take a
up.
shadow point for that.
Oh, ignore me.
But when he takes a shadow, I take a shadow.
All right. So,
Perhaps you should lead this one. You know, Ranger's a bit better than the rest of us.
Yes, we're ornery and prone to danger when we're wounded.
all right.
Yes, and you can be quite stubborn if they're anything like you.
Just look back at her.
Oh, I'm sure all he'll have to do is draw Mythor, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's definitely a ranger sword.
All right. So as you pass through the brush, you make your way just a couple hundred yards off of the road, and you come to what looks to be a series of crags in the earth. You see rocky outcroppings dropping down immediately down into a much deeper chasm, and you can see it looks as though there is a narrow stream which runs at the bottom. You can see that traversing around this is going to be rather difficult. There are mossy rocks down at the bottom, so you will need to watch your step. However, luckily with our Scouts Explorer roll, you are able to successfully navigate your way down into these crags and around, and eventually you come across a man leaning up against a wall. One of the walls of these deep crags. And from a distance, you can tell that it does not look as though he is moving.
Scan the area really quickly, make sure there's no other movement, and then just give him a slight bird whistle. And if he doesn't react, then move towards him.
Okay. You let out a shrill whistle, and there is no movement coming from this individual.
Okay. Draw Mythor just in case there are any threats, because he's paranoid that something is using him as bait. Going forward to check on him.
Okay. And as you stoop down, you can see that he has got a large stab wound. His leather shirt is stained black with dried blood. What looks to be probably a lethal shot to maybe one of the lungs. And he lays there motionless. You would guess that he is probably expired. And there you can also see that he does wear the characteristic green cloak that the Dunedain typically do wear, fastened together at the neck with a very familiar brooch.
Slide out a sigh and I guess lay him back and then start looking to see if there's any identifying item, anything, so he'll be able to take the information back to his people.
Okay. You would guess that his brooch would probably suffice. While it doesn't necessarily identify him individually, it would definitely identify him as one of your own people.
Okay. And sheath Mythor and then look for a place nearby, probably near these stones where we're going to be burying him. Because he's assuming that he's dead. I don't know if when they get closer, if they're going to make absolutely certain, like, oh, check and make sure that Thrush isn't completely like...
I mean, I can make a heal check for you if you would like me to.
Miragar, it doesn't look good, but you might as well check to be sure before we bury him.
Oh, easily.
Gandalf!
Double Gandalf!
All right. You can tell that not only is this poor soul unfortunately deceased, you guess he's probably been deceased for 2 days at least. And
dead for a few days now.
See, Thrush, if you'd made your travel roll the first time, we would have made it in time.
Exactly.
And you can tell as you kind of, Miragar, you get down and you examine the body and check to make sure there are no vital signs left. Thrush, you kind of get up and you scan around, and you can see that this area down here, there is a great number of rocks which have fallen. So if you were to make, you feel as though you could probably get away with making some sort of a cairn for him.
Okay.
But maybe digging a grave might not be possible with the terrain that surrounds you unless you drag him out.
No, definitely going to go the route of building a cairn then. Make sure that all of his things are with him, but taking the brooch. Oh dear.
Oh
nope.
no.
Nope. I am not helping with that at all.
That is all ones.
Yep.
These rocks are rocks.
Yeah, you as you pick up one of the rocks, it slips out of your hand and it falls. It was covered in moss. And it slips out of your hand and falls directly on your foot. And you got to take a break.
It's like, I think you should handle this, Thrush.
You lose 2 endurance.
15 points of shadow. Shadow rock. Yeah, spend time making sure that he's completely covered in rocks. Like I said, we'll take the brooch so he can return it to one of his people and let them know. Make sure that if nothing has looted him, that his weapon is across his chest. And yeah, lay him to rest.
And you do. You all, from your endeavors here, do take an additional 2 points of fatigue.
Okay.
However, you do avoid gaining any shadow from this, as well as any additional fatigue.
Nice. Now, if Thrush wanted to take a few moments before we bury him in his book that he has, do a sketch of his face, would that be a lore roll, a riddle roll, or something else?
If you wanted to do a sketch of his face?
Yeah, just so I could get like an idea of what he looked like. So when someone would, I bring the brooch back and said, this is what he looked like.
I would call that a craft roll.
Okay.
I can help him.
All right.
Just make sure you get the freckle here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I clicked on craft and nothing came up. What's going on with the game here? There we go. So I get. Oh, I get 2 dice from you helping me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That's why I said I would help you.
Look at all the clues again. My gosh.
Get everything but the hair correct.
Yep.
Perhaps I should give it a go.
Yes, it doesn't look like him at all.
Not
Just
quite.
short. Just short.
I feel like it's probably close enough to be like, is that
It's a person,
Bill?
but not.
Yeah.
Nope. None of us are artists.
You all,
Yeah.
you all take turns with this piece of paper, and you try to like rub
like
it out.
The
You see that the
like wanted posters where it's not quite right.
the picture, like the first picture, wasn't bad, and then you come in, you're like, no, you got this detail wrong. You rub it out just a little bit, leaving black smudges, and enhance it just a little bit. Still not quite right, and by the time you all pass it around trying to get every finer detail, the page itself is nothing but one big black smudge.
Well, Aranel would have tried on a separate sheet of paper.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but we'll say
I don't know about
you all have a very difficult time trying to trying to capture the visage of this poor ranger.
There we go.
You all continue traveling, make your way back up the crags. You see John is grumbling the entire way as he is currently manacled and having to try to traverse these treacherous rocks back up and make his way back to the road.
Miragar, I'm like, I'm born with you, buckler.
And as you
Maybe.
continue, you all travel for another day. And when you would guess that you are about 3 days outside of Tharbad, you get to a point where night begins to set in, and you can see, you look just off to the east, and you can see what looks to be a flickering flame situated in between a number of standing stones. Those of you who are well-read or well-traversed in the area would recognize this landmark as the Watchful Stones, which is a ring of 13 standing stones on a low hill. And you can see a fire burning within. And at that, you can see, you look back at John, and he is clearly fearful. And he says, I think we best keep going then.
Yep, on to Tharbad. Yep.
Friends of yours?
Nope. We ought best to avoid that one.
What should we know in case someone chases us down?
That's just, it's just some old hag.
Help us help you, John.
Now,
Right.
when you say some old hag, would that happen to be the
Orithel?
Dunedain you were working with?
And as soon as you say her name, John's eyes light up in utter terror. You can tell that whatever experience he's had with Orithel is not great, at least in his perception.
Well, Thrush, I think we're visiting your kin.
I think we will do exactly that.
If nothing else, you can at least give that brooch to your fallen comrade to her.
Correct.
All right. And as you make your way up towards the Watchful Stones and meet the ranger that dwells within, we are going to end tonight's episode.